Okay.
I'm a fighter, always have been. In the ring and in business. 30 years of battles, rising, falling, rebuilding. I've made money, I've lost money, but it wasn't until I created Zapata Systems was I able to really climb my way out. But the toughest fight, it wasn't physical. It was watching money walk out the door week after week, whether to vendors charging too much or labor not justifying the revenue. That money stress, it doesn't always stay at work. It follows you home, turns into arguments, cold dinners, and broken peace. And then there's the IRS, back taxes, deadlines, pressure you can't punch your way out of. Zapata System shows you what you're really paying. It gives you control, leverage, and savings. This isn't about surviving. It's about winning. You're in a fight. Start acting like it. Zapata Systems. Fight smarter.
What's up, guys? We are live. I'm Joe Zapata, and that's my boy, Gregg Valentino, man. We had a tough week, Greg. What's going on?
Just eating my fucking Quest cookie and mourning the loss of Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, we had a tough week. We had Malcolm Jamal Warner, right? Mm-hmm. He drowned. Then Ozzy, that was a big one. Ozzy Osbourne, man. I loved Ozzy.
Not my favorite. It's my favorite artist.
One of the best. And then today we lost the Hulkster. 71 years old, lost the Hulkster, man. He was a childhood hero of mine. Actually, when I met him, he signed that for me. I got a bunch of stuff from the Hulkster. He was always great. I was trying to get him on the podcast, but he wanted too much money. And I was like, come on. But it didn't work out. So whatever it was, but the Hulkster, man. But you did the Vice documentary on the Hulkster.
Right, I did.
And how was that when you talked to him?
Well, I hadn't seen him since. I saw him before, when I talked to him, it was before the Vice thing, and Vice kind of not made me throw him under the bus, but they wanted me to talk about how, he denies the steroid shit and, there was a lot of shit. So I just, I talked about that. And, I understand him kind of like putting the steroid thing in the back because he's a hero to young kids. A lot of young kids watch that. And, they don't want to come out and talk about steroid, even like The Rock, and they try to they try to make believe they didn't, because they don't want young kids to do that shit. Because young kids hear, oh, he takes steroids, I'm going to take steroids. So when I did the Vice TV show on him, that was what they kept. They would ask me, when you do these things, right? They ask you questions. They'll say, so Joe, so what do you think of Hulk Hogan? And you can't hear them asking that. You don't, I hear, you would hear them, but the people watching don't hear that. So you say, what do I think of Hulk Hogan? So what I do to, and that's how you talk, but they ask you shit to pull shit out of you. You know what I mean? And that's how all that happens. But, so I didn't see him after it. I'm sure he probably wasn't too happy with me because people don't know, but he sued Vice TV for doing that. You know that, right? As a matter of fact, when I did that, after we did it, I'm over here spitting. After we did that, the producers told me, I don't think it's going to air. And I said, well, why not? Because the Arnold thing already aired that I did. And they were like, well, because he's suing us. And, he's saying that we defamed him and all this other shit, and I'm one of the people I'm sure he wasn't too happy with. But
yeah, because that documentary wasn't going to come out originally. And you said, oh, I'm going to come out. And then it was going to air. And you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. I didn't know it aired. I didn't fucking know it aired until everybody's telling me, dude, I saw you on TV with the Hulk Hogan. And I'm like, oh, shit, it aired. Because they originally told me, after it was done, after the Arnold thing aired, they said, we're not going to do the Hulk Hogan because Hogan was suing. He wasn't happy about that. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. And, I got word early this morning, and I was talking to a couple of wrestlers, and I had told there was a bunch of wrestlers who I talked to from Florida was like, hey, Hogan's not good. And I knew that. I'm not going to tell you their names. But then I talked to Maven. I talked to Marcus Buff Bagwell. I talked to a bunch of them, and I told a lot of them didn't even know. They're like, are you serious, Joe? I'm like, yeah, he's dead. And then it started going in a text message. I talked to Greg Gagne. A lot of people dealing with Hulk Hogan, they couldn't believe it. So there was a lot of wrestlers I was in contact with this, because I interview a bunch of wrestlers and I'm friends with a bunch of them. So it was pretty bad. John Smith says, R.I.P. Hulkster, one of the best. Monster Chute says, R.I.P. Hogan. Biggest Momo says, hey, Momos, what's up?
Morella. I see Morella there. How you doing?
Luciano says, hello. Luciano says, 24 pythons live on. That's right. Brian, Momo Friday.
Yeah,
we got a bunch of them there. Jersey Jay-Z, what's up, man?
My boy
Your brother's jumping in. We're going to talk a little bit of Hulk Hogan, too. What's up, George?
I am back in the house. I'm back home.
There he is. What are you doing, George?
George, man. Yeah, what'd you hear about the word about Hogan, George? I'm the one who told you, and you didn't believe me.
You know what? I didn't believe you because I spoke to Kevin right when I heard that, and I said, "There's no way." Now, when you hear Hulk Hogan was sick, and we heard that, and then people start denying it as much as they did, I knew there was something there. So there's something there. Something's going on. You can't be that. I mean, if you're not sick, you talk, you say whatever you can to kind of spin that cycle to have him go. And a lack of a better term, spin that cycle. But Hulk Hogan was this was a very interesting thing when it's coming out. There are people on one side and there are people on the other side. It is very split.
Yes, very split.
He had the first half.
I mean, there'd be no Rock, there'd be no Stone Cold if there wasn't Hulk Hogan.
And there'd be no Hulk Hogan if there wasn't Sylvester Stallone, who actually picked him out of nowhere to be in Rocky. And that's where he got
a good point. I mean, it's a great point. But for like people talking about Mount Rushmore, who's the biggest wrestler who changed wrestling? Some say Stone Cold, some say The Rock, some say,
no, it's Hulk Hogan.
It's Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan wrestling Andre the Giant's considered the greatest money match ever. Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. When Hogan picked up the Giant and he slammed, I mean, and I'm not a wrestling guy, guys, so I don't really know too much about wrestling, but even I know about that. You know what I'm saying? That wrestling match was supposed to be the greatest match ever.
Well, Hulk Hogan sold, if you think about it, just in this perspective, he sold the most tickets. There was no social media. You had to go to the arena. And by the way, pay-per-view, you had to buy the pay-per-view. Jay-Z, we went to the
closed circuit.
Beacon Theater. In Passaic. We went to the Beacon Theater to watch WrestleMania 1 and 2. We didn't have it. If my father didn't steal it from pay-per-view, I mean, you had to buy it. So he sold the most revenue-wise, had to be. So he had that first career that was really good. Then he goes to WCW, and I know, Greg, we're getting a little, you don't know much about that.
No, too much.
WCW, and it went down. But then he did, and people were saying that John Cena's turn was going to be the greatest of all time, better than Hogan. When Hulk Hogan turned bad, it was think about it, they beat the WWF in the ratings for 58 straight weeks.
83.
Was it 83?
83 weeks.
Oh, yeah, it's the name of Bert Bischoff's podcast.
83 weeks.
There is nobody that could. He changed his whole red and yellow to black and white.
Yep.
Nobody could do that in this business. John Cena's thing was now people turn left and right and you don't even know. Hulk Hogan was the same. But there are people after that happened and he started doing the racial stuff. That was it. And then
what racial stuff? What do you mean by that? What did he do?
He was Hulk Hogan with his girlfriend. I think his girlfriend, Brooke Hogan, was dating somebody black guy, and then Hulk
in
Hogan
real life. You're talking about
real life, and he kind of said something, off color, obviously, and
he worked with black dudes and stuff. I don't think people get a little crazy with that stuff.
I agree, but here's the problem that Hulk Hogan had when he went to the locker room to address it. The WWE let him back in to address it. Mark Henry, Shelton Benjamin, and a lot of the black wrestlers. He just said, "I said something on camera. I shouldn't have got caught."
Yep,
that is not a good move.
Yeah. I interviewed Jonathan Coachman, and Jonathan Coachman says he honors what Hulk Hogan did in his career, but he does not respect the man for what he said.
So
take it as
that should tell you something, because Jonathan Coachman's a good guy.
Yes.
Respectful, doesn't do the racist shit. He doesn't do that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The fact that was part of the deal, you know, it kind of tarnished him a little bit. I mean, the last appearance he had, the Intuit Arena, he got booed out of the arena.
He did get booed on Netflix. He did.
Was that recently?
Yes.
That was what was that date, Jay-Z?
I forget, but that was right after the Trump. Right after Trump.
That's what I was going to say, because, you know, the fact that he came out and supported Trump split that shit right down the middle.
Oh,
a lot of people hated him for that
brutal.
Shit. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't do that. I mean, I get it, but you can't, you know.
Well, it made me respect him more. But, you know, here's the thing. I saw him. I was talking to you guys off camera. I saw him literally months before his son got in another car accident. They had it on YouTube, had like all these videos of, you know, the police cameras, right? And Hulk Hogan got there, and he was with a cane, and he looked like fucking death warmed over. He looked thin. He looked really bad. And then I see him literally a couple months later up there on the stage where, you know, ripping off his shirt for the Trump thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, holy shit. It reminded me when I saw Lou Ferrigno in Gold's Gym in like 1982, 82. I can't remember if it was 82 or 83. And then I came home, and, it was 82. And then I come home, and Ferrigno was literally like fucking 190 pounds. Then I see him, he's 275 pounds. Literally 3 months later at the Night of Champions, rips off his coat because he was doing the movie Samson. And I was like, holy shit, he put on like 70, 80 pounds in like 3 months' time of ripped, shredded muscle, you know? Well, the same thing with Hogan. I saw him with a cane, walking like an old man, like, and skinny. And then I see him at the Trump thing, ripping off his shirt, you know? And I was like, what the hell happened to him? You know?
Yeah. Oh, Charlie Arms just sent us $5. Thank you, Charlie Arms. He said, can't believe I outlived Ozzy and Hulk Hogan. God, I'm getting old. Greg, I miss you, buddy. Reach out soon. Hope this show gets big like you too.
Yeah, that's funny. That's not really Charlie Arms, but it's okay. I like
somebody else. I know. Biggest Momo said he wanted money to be on the podcast. Yes, Hulk Hogan asked, when I talked to Hulk Hogan, he wanted $5,000.
Yeah, but that's the norm now. But that's the
all those big $5,000's nothing. It was Sammy the Bull won 70,000, right?
Yeah, 70,000.
70 grand.
That's
the norm now. But that's the norm. The bigger guy, because this stuff's all, you know. And I think I talked to Jay-Z, or because I know I talked to Greg about it. But media's changing. This is not what you think it is now. Mm-hmm. It is about the dollar and about the eyes. And if you have people eyes on you, you are going to make money. That's going to be charging everybody.
Yep. Hey, Morella, what's going on?
Hey, Morella.
William Allen said, anything from Vince McMahon yet? Yes, he did. He actually did say something. He said that Vince McMahon said that Hulk Hogan was the greatest performer in the history of wrestling. That's all he said. He said, I want to thank Hulk Hogan. He was the greatest performer in the history of wrestling.
The fact that Vince outlived Hogan is something else too.
Mm-hmm.
Vince is a scam. I don't know.
Brian said, phenomenal legend Hulkster. Filled my late nights as a kid, glued to the screen watching him. Yeah, we all were.
Joe, I know somebody that just saw him. One of my friends was just up in Connecticut, in a gym in Connecticut. And Vince was in the gym with his trainer. And he said, Greg, Vince looked like he couldn't even walk right. He looked terrible. Looked like and he had a trainer. I'm like, dude, the guy's been training for 50, 60 years. You really need a trainer, you know? But I don't know. He said he looked old and like decrepit, you know. And this is my friend, like, you know, a legit friend, not just some guy, you know. So I know he wasn't bullshitting, but Vince is like, forget about it.
Yep. Luciano said Hogan revolutionized wrestling. Nobody even close. Yep, that's true.
Now, you notice something? I was a little nervous jumping on this podcast today. I'll tell you why.
Why?
Have you guys noticed that every time you see someone who's jumping on a podcast lately who's coming back, they're dying? Hulk Hogan was just on Patrick Bet-David. He's dead. Right before that, there was this mob guy. He's dead. I mean, what the hell? You ever notice that? There's people that are popping up that are coming back on podcasts and they're dropping dead.
Well, make that you, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know. Sammy the Bull's been fucking floating around. That guy should be with the shit he talks about. I don't understand how, whatever.
Anthony Zamboni said, Joe, looking great. All you're missing is the wig that Greg has under his desk.
Yeah. George. Oh my God. You know, George, not your brother, Mr. G with the fucking, he used to do that. And people, you know, when he was a little bit younger, and people thought it was really, you know, he would come to the Arnold Classic with us and he'd be like, you know, with the wig and the whole getup. People actually thought it was Hulk Hogan. They come up, can I get my picture? Hulk Hogan, holy shit, you know?
Yep. AJ88, hey fellas, how's it going? Tito Ortiz says, RIP Hulkster, unlike Greg, he stepped out of his car and now he's gone. Yep. Did you see now when he sued Gawker, right? He got $50 million for that, right? When he Hogan. Yeah. And Bubba the Love Sponge has been talking a lot about it because he's the one who broke the story first that Hogan was really sick and no one believed him.
I don't know too much about wrestling, guys. You know that I don't really follow wrestling, but I do know some wrestlers, from being around bodybuilding, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, a lot of those guys are all talk shit about each other and are kind of jealous. There's a lot of fights backstage and shit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jealousy and stuff. You hear about all kinds of shit,
Yeah, true, man. John Saldi said, "Hey boys, miss you guys."
Hey, John Saldi.
How's John Saldi doing?
Yeah, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, I know he was in the hospital. It was a lot of things going on, but hopefully he's getting better. Good. Luciano said Hogan ruined the chance of having a reunion in pro wrestling. He did have a ruin that. I think he told on Jesse the Body Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. When they did the Vice documentary for Hogan, Greg.
Yeah,
you didn't. Hogan wasn't around.
No. He was so pissed off at that. He was so upset. He tried to stop them from doing it, but they did it anyway. I knew it because when they were asking me the questions, I was like, "Oh fuck," But I went with it, and no, he tried to stop it from happening. He knew it was going to happen, and then because there was other people on there, there was like I'm not sure if there was I don't think his ex-wife was on there, but I think there was like a girl he dated on there too,
Mm-hmm.
and so what happens is that he knew that was going to happen, but once it came, once they put it in the tank and they filmed it and he sued them, but they put it out anyway. I knew it was trouble, but I did my job. That's what they hired me for, and that's what I did. So I didn't badmouth him, but I just simply said, dude, he's not telling the truth. He can't sit there and say I never took anything and I didn't take steroids and I didn't, and he was, he was fucking around on the wife and fucking, supposedly he was paying, him and his friend had some sort of weird sex thing going on with like, I'll fuck your wife, you fuck my wife, like that kind of shit. I'm not too sure about all that, but I know it was some sort.
There's so much of that shit that goes on.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
There's celebrities.
I'm telling you, what I just witnessed over the last 2 weeks, there's a lot of that shit going on.
Oh yeah, look at Conor McGregor again. Just
my God,
dude, is he stupid, bro? Are you fucking stupid? You're making out with a girl, and it's on fucking camera, and then he put it all over the internet, and your wife sees that. It's a man. She's gonna fucking take your whole little kingdom away.
Well, they have some sort of agreement, I believe.
That's ridiculous.
But she was like in Ohio too.
Wow.
I mean,
don't mind me, guys. I just was outside. In case you're wondering, it's diet root beer.
I thought you were pissing.
No, I was that, and I was eating a Quest cookie because I've been outside the whole time. Like my hands are all nasty, just doing shit around the house.
Did you see like the couple from the Coldplay concert that CEO?
Oh,
that's another one. That's
another one, right?
But I don't care. Listen, there's no such thing as having an agreement. She has an agreement because Connor will tell her, look, I'll fuck around, but I'm still going to come home to you until he fucking starts getting a relationship with one of those girls. That he starts liking her a little bit too much. That agreement shit never happens. It never works out. It's just like prenups. I've never heard of a prenup that actually worked out. Have you ever heard of a prenup where some guy took some chick out of the gutter? Now she's living in the penthouse, and then he dumps her. Did you see what's his name? Dances with Wolves. He just, I think he got a divorce, and she's making like $100,000 a month off him. You know what I mean? Like, those prenups never work. So you watch. Yeah. Let him fuck around too much.
George, somebody we know, and I could tell you off the air, I'm not gonna say it here. He opened up Pandora's box. He wanted his wife to sleep with another guy while the whole 9 yards, right? Opened up a huge Pandora's box, and it just ended really bad. I'll tell you off the air who it is.
But hold on. Your buddy doesn't have billions of dollars. There's a difference there. Because I won't say there's a guy who's got a ton of cash. Okay. Mm-hmm. I know he's married. I know he has children. The wife doesn't care. Says when you're on the road and you're not home much. Mm-hmm. You're on the road, do what you want. You come home with your family. That's it. None of the bullshit. And she's cool with it. I'm telling you.
Wait till Dana's wife. Wait till the guy's wife finds out that he's having a relationship.
It's out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's because the whole deal is don't fall in love and start like being with her. When the minute comes with her, like where it's not coming home and she has the relationship, she's going to be like put the kibosh. That's what happens. It just never works. Like Joe said. And you know what's funny? And when you let your wife do the same shit, that you're letting wife starts falling in love with the guy she's fucking banging. And then before I have a friend, the same thing happened. And he brought a guy home from. He used to like to watch his wife get fucked, and he brought her home. He brought home a guy that he worked with, and the guy would bang his wife, and he'd watch, and and eventually, guess what? Now the wife's not with my friend anymore, and she's married to that guy. It just never works out right, and I don't give a shit. It always comes back to bite you in the ass. It comes back to bite you in the ass.
Who's this guy in the chat?
What does he say?
Some asshole. The Asylum fan page. Who the fuck is this guy?
What does it say?
Come on, hit my show. Open a pen. What? You get the fuck out of here.
Come on. What is he saying?
I'm here to deliver.
Who is this guy? Deliver a message. What message are you going to deliver? Not one.
To get on the
as you sign the
test the waters. And
get the fuck out of here with this
What is
guy.
that? Wait, I don't understand what that.
This guy.
What is the guy saying? I can't even see. I'm really fucking blind. What's the guy saying? He's asking for what?
Hey, come on my show or something like that.
So he's promoting his show on this show?
I doubt he's got one. The Asylum page. He's probably has a MySpace page. This guy.
Yeah, I don't know what this is. We have another
a lot of guys on here. There's one of my friends comes on here. He might be on here right now, but he makes believe. I told him already in the past. My friend Steve, I know it's him. You know what I mean? He says things, and he tries to make believe he's somebody else on here. But whatever.
Charlie Arm. I know that's why I'm afraid to get on a podcast as well. Great point, Greg. Tell me the story that when I knocked out Tim Belknap for selling insulin and slapping the girl around, disrespecting the gym.
Jesus.
Not true. That's not really Charlie Arms. That guy got on. It's funny. He's funny, but he got on. The podcast with the other Joe.
Joe Pietaro.
Right, and Joe Pietaro told him, "Okay, come on the show. Then I'll put you on right now." And when he got on, he ran on naked. We just saw his bare ass. He had a monkey face on. He put a monkey mask on. He ran. We saw his bare ass run. You know what I'm saying? So. But it's a Charlie, the real Charlie Arms doesn't get on it. But it's okay. I don't mind the guy playing around longer.
Hey,
he's telling a story that I told back in Muscular Development when I did the Ramblin' Freak, where Tim Belknap used to smack around his girl, and one of the guys in the gym beat the shit out of him. Tommy Barr, who I was friends with, he was, I told that story fucking 20 years ago, and so it's got to be somebody who reads Ramblin' Freak,
Ruben Sanchez is there. What's up, Ruben?
What's going on?
The dude 1983 said we got Bush. One sad week. And Ozzy, we lost Ozzy Osbourne.
Dude, let me tell you,
Ozzy was great. I love Ozzy.
About Hulk Hogan, but I'm like more upset with Ozzy because I'm an Ozzy guy, bro. I love Ozzy Osbourne.
I love this show, The Osbournes, too. That was funny as hell. You ever watch it? Funny as hell. The best was the time I was telling Joe Pietaro. They showed him he went out to the beach with his family, and he walked over to the ocean, to get the waves, get the waves on the feet, and everything. And a big wave came and fucking knocked him off his feet. And all of a sudden, the camera guys and everybody ran because it started pulling him out to the ocean. And he's like, he's like fucking drowning. It was the funniest. I mean, funny, not funny, but it was legit. It wasn't like they set it up. He just went over there and happened to be a big wave. Didn't you ever go to the beach and a wave hits you and it actually knocks you down and you go under the water? That's what happened to him. And he can't fucking walk as it is, but I don't know if you know, but his son is into Muay Thai fighting.
I told Joe Pietaro he won a fucking Muay Thai tournament, like one of those like badass tournaments. Yeah. He went overseas and went to like some monastery,
Thailand, he's good.
And he fucking learned how to do that shit for legit. And a monk. He lived like a monk for like a long time. And he wound up fucking winning overall in that. Dude, Ozzy flew over there to watch. He's like, "What the fuck is Jack doing?" And he went from being this fat kid. He actually got muscular and everything.
Yeah, he was really good. I think he was a blue belt or whatever, but he's really good. The dude 1983 says the Hulkster will always be in my heart. He didn't make a wish for my cousin who was dying of cancer. Gave us tickets to WWE FRN. Wow,
nice.
So one thing about the Osbournes, that was like the original reality TV show. Well,
it was.
the first series. It started getting scripted towards the end, I think. But that first one, that first episode when he was on the iPad and the curtains were moving and all that shit. That was probably one of the funniest. I stopped watching it when it became scripted.
Yeah.
I seen him go in a garden and the fucking bees were coming out after him. He's like, son of a bitch, it fucking bee. I mean, like, yeah, I think at the end what they would say is like, I think at the end they would go and say like, okay, Jack, you walk in the kitchen while Ozzy's fucking sitting there, and you guys just argue about something like, what the fuck, But what nobody knows is that Ozzy has an oldest daughter, okay?
Amy,
right, and she was there the whole time, but would refuse to be filmed, and said, I don't want any part. So people think it was just Jack and the other girl there,
no.
Whatever the fuck her name is, the kid, the other girl.
Kelly,
right, Kelly. Everybody thought, oh, it's just Jack and Kelly. It's not. Like I even saw people like, I just want to say to, Jack, Kelly, and Sharon, I'm so sorry. You forgot there's an Amy, and she's the oldest. Actually, and she's wasn't bad looking. If you ever saw her, she was a nice looking girl. But that was Ozzy's firstborn, and she refused to be in that TV show.
She was on it a couple episodes, but she would hide. You wouldn't see her. She would black her out.
She refused. Yeah, because she didn't want to be part of it. She felt like it was like invading their privacy. You know what I mean? But I don't know.
One quick thing: are we gonna let it go unnoticed that Jay-Z is in full Hulkamania garb?
He's missing the hair. Hulkamania.
I was waiting the mustache. But
wait, what about me with the 1980s Mike Brady shirt?
Yeah, you're right. You're right into it. Me, I got the Uncle Nicky going on with my I haven't shaved.
Yeah. P. Wild says, Greg, Hogan needed a trainer. Maybe he needed someone to push him through some skinny, silly silk pajamas. Thoughts about training on later age?
I mean, you just got to get to the gym and train. You got to take it, train. I train the way I did when I was younger. I still do lots of sets, lots of reps, no rest. That's the way you got to do it. The minute you start, like my father used to always say, if I sit down, when you're older, if you start sitting down and relaxing too much, you're not going to get up. You know what I mean? So you got to, I'm 65 years old, so I'm 5 years, I'll be 70, but I don't, but I train and take everything the way I did when I was younger, I don't mean take things like steroids. I'm saying like I live my life and I think, I like modern music. I'm not one of those people like, man, Led Zeppelin, from the 70s. I was like that in the 70s, but, I listen to modern music. It's just as well as I listen to older stuff. I like young girls, you know what I mean? I like modern shit. I'm not one of those guys like stuck in the, in the 70s from when I was younger,
AR says, hey, Greg, did you ever meet Hogan over the years at Gold's Gym or anywhere else? Yeah.
I didn't meet him at Gold's Gym. I've met him at when we went to dinner, and I was there with Arnold and fucking Franco. When I was there I told Joe, I'm over here pointing at the screen. I was with Alessandro Save and my friend, and I introduced him to Franco. Arnold, they were at a big table, and I worked for Muscular Development. We were all there together, so I met Hogan then. I've seen him a few times, but I met him then, and we talked a little bit, nothing major, just bullshit. Small talk, but he knew who I was because the Ramblin' Freak bullshit, all that bullshit.
John Salty said, just got back home this afternoon, fellas. Had bad sepsis infection.
Oh shit!
We're gonna have to get trained again. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for the chat and YouTube message. Respect. Wow.
God bless you, John. That's sepsis is no joke.
Did you see Ronnie Coleman actually had his first interview with Ron Harris?
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Yes, and he said that Ronnie said that he knew he was having a fever, something was wrong. He was getting ready to go on stage. He went on stage and he says he doesn't remember what they were talking. He was saying the same question over and over. And someone's like, something's wrong with Ronnie. He keeps repeating himself. So he got off. They took him in. They said, Ronnie, he went to try to go to the car or something, and he fell out of the chair. So his daughter got him because he was with his daughter. They took him back to his room. He said he's getting pains all over his body, and he started like getting really hot, and he said he was shaking. And his wife said his daughter was crying, and he told his daughter, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? She said, call your mother. The mother, Ronnie's wife, said, get him to the hospital. And he said that moment saved his life. Because as soon as they got him, he started his heart. When the paramedics got there, they said his infraction rate on his heart, whatever it was really low.
Wow.
So they were like, something's going on. We got to get to the hospital.
Well,
and then he said he doesn't remember anything after that.
Let me just say, I've got to head out to a 60th birthday party, but John good to see John's doing well. That infection is scary.
Yeah,
All right.
very scary.
All right, thanks, man. Hulkamania.
Wait,
What
you're
up,
going
Bob?
to a 60th birthday party?
I have a 60th birthday party to go to.
Okay.
All right.
My
Well,
wife. My wife. No.
All right.
Wait, no.
No.
No,
Jesus.
no.
How old do you think I am, Greg? No,
I know
just
you're young. You're what? 47.
48.
48.
Okay.
Mhm. All right, brother.
All right.
What you gonna do?
You could be my son. Go to your room.
Keith says that Hulkster's greatest wrestler in the history of sports entertainment, without a doubt, man. Keith, I loved Hulk Hogan. I was a huge fan growing up. Like I said, I was trying to get him on this podcast with me, but he wanted $5,000, and I just can't pay that. Sorry, I don't know. Keith said, "Don't drink that shit. Drink Zivia root beer, Greg."
I do drink the Zivia too. Joe got me into that. But it just, this is just quick. I've been, the reason why is I'm so sweaty and gross right now because I've been outside the whole time. That's why I had to eat the Quest cookie. You know what I mean? Because I haven't eaten, like this. See, I haven't eaten or drinking. That's why I keep drinking this shit because I'm fucking forget about it.
Yeah.
I had to run in to do the show and I'm all gross. I'm wearing. I can't even get my foot up. I'm wearing it. Let me see if I can do it like this, Joe. I'm wearing the dead guy's shoes. I'm waiting for the guy who died.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice. What are you doing? What are you doing in the lawn? Doing your lawn?
My leg just cramped. No, I took down that tent I had in the back. It did not the carport.
You took that down?
Yeah, I took it down.
Oh,
yeah,
shit must have been flying. Dead things must have come out of that.
Oh, dude, right there. I didn't even want to tell you. Oh, fuck. My leg is cramping.
You got a cramp?
I'm holding it up like that. Holy shit. That's fucking crazy.
Charlie Arm says, "I don't read Rambling Freak anymore, Greg. Only talking smack."
Yeah, I hear you. That a boy. Now you Charlie Arms. Now you're talking. Okay.
Miss Bell, what's going on, guys? How you doing, Miss Bell? Hope you're doing
Miss
well.
Bell, how you doing, hon?
Loho, Ozzy was unintentionally one of the funniest guys ever. R.E.P. The principal. I love Ozzy. Ozzy was the.
Look, give me that Ozzy fucking thing again in the house.
Greg, I don't know if you know this. I mean, George knew this obviously, but I played guitar for like 25 years since I was like 7.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Did you know that I played guitar too and I sucked? I took lessons for my whole life. My mother forced me. So I was about 7, 8 years old, and I took lessons. And my son was a guitarist, an elite guitarist. My son used to write music. I don't know. Him and my daughter both were musicians. Me, I fucking suck. My grandfather played the banjo, and he was Italian. So forget that. But I can't. I didn't know you played guitar, but I played guitar too, but I can't. I sucked. I was the worst guitar player. I took lessons. It would have wasted money that was for my parents.
Bruno Valentino says, "Hollywood Zapata." That's right, Bruno, brother.
Bruno Valentino. Oh, God help me.
Willie Mountain, do you guys think families will ever make more money now? Ozzy, Hogan, and Malcolm have passed away?
I think Ozzy will definitely because his music.
Yeah.
Hogan is not.
Hogan didn't talk to his daughter, that for 2 years. Brooke actually just released a statement, said they were not on terms when they were talking terms when he died.
Well,
which is a shame.
I don't like that stuff, because I went through a little bit of that with my son. You know what I mean? But that was because he was brainwashed. But the thing is that Ozzy his estate will always make money. Now maybe Hogan can make money maybe off his image and stuff, but not like Ozzy's the music. You understand? Like Elvis has been dead how many years, Joe? And his estate still makes money. It's his music will live on. I mean,
of course. Iron Man was one of the best. Iron Man, Crazy Train.
Ozzy was my favorite artist. Him and Sabbath and AC/DC were my two favorite bands.
Too, yeah.
I loved growing up. Growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Ozzy was great. Donnie says, "Crazy how Greg was the original Rich Piana and Boston Lloyd, yet he outlived them both. Legend Momo Mafia."
You know why? Because I don't fucking do drugs and shit, and I don't
exactly.
I don't need to be huge. I'm taking myself down. I'd rather be more diesel and just muscular and not jacked. I could get jacked very easy. Just like when I posed down with Larry on, when I did the leg thing. All these other guys take the Tren and growth and IGF. I don't do anything, bro. I take TRT once every 10 days, and my shit fucking. If I took any of that stuff, forget about it, and I'm slowly but surely trying to get my weight down smaller and smaller and smaller, because as you get older, your heart You know, even though I'm 65 and I'm in good shape, I still have a 65-year-old heart. You got to be careful. You know, you can't. How many jacked older men do you see? You might see a guy that's 80 that's muscular and built and ripped, but he's not jacked. He's not big because that's not good for the heart.
Nope. And you know what? My friend always told me, he says, look, we're all going to die, but there's no sense knocking on the big guy's door, you know?
No.
And those guys are pushing your limit, knocking on the door.
All those guys that say, I'd rather live like a lion and die like a lamb or whatever that fucking bullshit is when be jacked, dude, forget about that. You say that now, but when you're on your fucking deathbed and your mother's crying and shit, well, my mother's dead, but what I'm saying is, you'll think twice about that shit. I don't want to be big anymore. I like bodybuilding for me, but I hate the sport of bodybuilding. I don't give two shits who wins the Mr. Olympia. I could give a fuck. I don't even follow that shit anymore.
Yeah.
Because they ruined that sport. It's a totally different sport.
Yep. John Solly said, Joe, I actually ordered my 2 Hulkamania tees, red and black. Very cool. Like I said, I tried to get Hulk Hogan on my show, but like I said, he outpriced himself. I couldn't do it. He wanted like $5,000. I told his agent and Jimmy Hart, I said, I can't do it because Jimmy Hart actually represents him. So I was talking to his manager, Jimmy Hart, and I was like, no, Jimmy, I can't do it. So, oh, well. Yeah, Greg, you're 100% correct because Ozzy had 10 grandchildren also.
But you got to remember, he was very loved by his family. But the thing is, the music he made is, again, look at fucking Elvis. Elvis has been dead since the 70s. He died when I was in high school when he died. I think he was 75 or 76 or some shit like that. I was already 77. I was almost done with high school, And I'm saying I was out of high school in the 70s. But what I'm saying to you is that his music still lives on. It's just his music still brings in revenue. His estate brings in revenue. Joe was at his mansion. I was at
Graceland. Yeah, Boomerang.
Yeah. I'm just saying that, I don't know if Hogan's family is going to make any money off of like maybe Hogan memorabilia. They might, but you can't compare that with Ozzy. Ozzy created music. Ozzy broke the mold with all that shit. Ozzy came around. I heard of Ozzy when I was 9 in 1969. My next door neighbor was listening to this new band, Black Sabbath. You know what I mean? And he would play this shit. And I was like, wow, you know what I mean? Back then we called it acid rock. You didn't call it heavy. There was no such word as heavy metal. That came later. We called it acid rock because it was like, I don't know why they called it acid rock, but it was heavy duty rock, And so I knew of Ozzy at 69. You know what I mean?
Yep. Loho said Ozzy had two kids from a previous marriage. Yes, he did. Pop Tart Fitness said, I'm 22 and I'm doing my first cycle this August for Labor Day weekend. Doing D-ball because I don't want my mom to find needles. I already cut, so a little bloat could help. How should I PCT?
Wait a minute. You're doing what now? D-ball?
He's doing D-ball because he doesn't want his mom to find his needles. I already cut, so I'm a little bloat. Could help. How should I PCT?
Well, I mean, take HCG. I would recommend HCG and Clomid. But the thing is, D-ball's a fucking nasty drug to start with. I mean, you really should do the fucking needle. I mean, that's hard on your liver and all that stuff. And I mean, if you got a little bloat, I don't know. A lot of guys say that. Well, I'm a little bloated. Usually means they're fat, a little bit of fat. So you might have to, you said you cut already and you bloated, then once you come off the D-ball, if it is just water, as soon as you come off the D-ball, the water will come out. You'll lose that little bit of water that you got. But if you, at your age too, that you're young. I know that you don't think so, but you're young. You don't want to fuck yourself up. You got it. Take HCG and Clomid. The Clomid gets your own, is your own FSH hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, which will stimulate your own gonadotrophin, which is HCG. Okay, you take HCG to get the fire, to get it going, but to get your body to start bouncing back. But the Clomid will stimulate your body to producing the testosterone again. But you got to be really careful with that shit.
Be careful with that stuff. I
don't know about all that. Listen, you're young. Unless you're gonna, I know everybody wants to be like, I want to look jacked. I want to be big. But if you're not gonna fucking compete, I would wait a while before I do that shit. If you are gonna compete, That's the wrong drug to just do just that. You know what I mean? You're shutting down your body. That's like robbing a bank and saying, I only want the $100 bills. If I'm going to rob a bank, I want the pennies too. I want to. So you should be doing a really, a legit cycle. You'll get a lot more from it. You're still going to shut your body down either way. So if you're going to shut your body down, you might as well get the most of it. You know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. But
Richard Roman said, "What is a butthole infection?"
Butthole infection? Where'd you hear that?
I don't know what it is. He said, hello. Said Joe, Hulk Hogan might have been 5K to get on the podcast, but you could have had Jumbo Palumbo for a modest 2K. That's okay.
No, I don't. Dave doesn't charge, does he, Joe?
I don't know, but you know the situation with me and him. So
yes, I do know that. Yes.
Nick Kerr. Question for Greg: do you think if Hulkster kissed Grace Jones this morning, he would still be? Oh, that's funny. John Solly, thanks, boys. I had very similar symptoms as Ronnie. Luckily, my infection did not attack any heart, my organs. Pain is worse. I'm very blessed. Appreciate everyone here, 100%. Yep. William Allen, Money Train ran out for Linda Hogan. Oh yeah, Linda Hogan. She's a mess too. Hogan's ex-wife.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. John, I hope you just keep taking the antibiotics. If you're still on that, don't stop. Take the full cycle of that shit. But yeah, I'm sure his wife's not too happy about that. I mean, I don't know how that. Oh, here we go. That's I know who you are.
Megan. You know this Megan?
Yeah. I go on. Ignore that.
Okay. There's no 300-pound 80-year-old people around. Miss Bell said that's true.
Yeah.
That is 100% true.
You can see an 80-year-old who's ripped, built, muscular, got the abs, pecs, little biceps, and all that shit. But you're not going to see one that's super jacked. Is like, holy shit, it's got 22-inch arms. It's not going to happen. Not even 20. You're not going to see that. You can't. It's just people don't understand that muscle calls a lot of blood, which puts a strain on the heart. Fat, there's very little blood flow in fat. Okay, that's why you can see fat people can live, as long as, fat doesn't clog their arteries. I have two friends that are fat bastards and they're fine. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, but when you have a lot of muscle, you're putting a strain on the heart. You don't understand it. There's no bodybuilder, including Arnold. Look at all the bodybuilders when they retire. None of them are jacked anymore, big. They're muscular. Some are still muscular, okay? But you can't be jacked and be old. It just doesn't work. You could be Diesel, you understand, ripped and nice, and take your shirt off and holy shit, he's built, that guy. But you're not going to be big. You can't. It just doesn't it won't live long. So
Keith said the guy with the second largest arms in the world died. Very sad. Rest in peace, Hulkster. Greg, you got the larger arms. Take care of yourself.
Hulkamania.
Well, Greg, how big were your arms? Hogan says he was 24-inch pythons. What were yours?
I seen him in person. His arms were not fucking.
He's not 24. I don't think.
The same thing with mine were ridiculous. So we won't even get into that. But
yours had to be what, 28?
Yeah, they were at one point they were 27. But I was shooting the steroids into the arms too. So, but I mean, I had like 20-inch arms when I was fucking natural. But here's the thing. What's his name? What's the other guy's name? The other guy. Scott Steiner.
Yes, Scott Steiner. Yes.
He shot his biceps with shit. You know what I'm saying? Well, with steroids. I'm not sick of Synthol. I hate the whole fucking Synthol thing. Whatever. I'm not even going to get into that shit. But Scott Steiner shot his biceps with the steroids, and I think he was bigger than Hogan. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Hogan was a big man. Hogan was like a lumberjack. I mean, that guy's fucking big. Even his fucking face was big. When I saw him, he was like, his fucking face he's a big guy. Well,
yeah,
John, was he 6'7", 6'6"?
No, he was 6'8", but when after his back surgeries, he was back down to about 6'4", they said, with all these back surgeries he had. He was walking hunched over.
He lost 4 fucking inches?
They said he was, like I said, he was hunched over towards the end of his career.
Oh, okay.
And he had 4 or 5 back surgeries.
Jesus. I could use a couple of those inches,
Yeah. John Sawyer
not in a piece really got. I'm good there, but
true story. I had TRT Dick yesterday early morning. A nurse accidentally elbowed my TRT cock. Very awkward. Jesus Christ.
John is
Hogan's best friend Brutus the Bar Beefcake weren't in talking terms either. Now I know the true story behind that.
Brutus the Beefcake. I heard that.
Brutus, he's the barber. He used to come with the cup. Him and Hogan were best friends.
Right.
Okay. Best friends growing up. Hogan actually, wherever he went, took him with him. Brutus Beefcake tells a story on Dark Side of the Ring that him and his girlfriend, that Hogan, it was like something with his girlfriend that didn't like his Hogan, didn't like his girlfriend. That's not true. I know the real story through someone personally who was connected. I'm not saying it on the air. I'll tell you off the air, Greg, but it's really fucked up. So I could see why Hogan would be mad at Brutus Beefcake, because what happened had involved somebody taking some schkarol.
I heard a lot of little things like that. Money. I heard I heard a whole wife swapping thing, and like him one fucking the other guy over with the wife, and some shit. It was crazy shit. But like your brother said, a lot of those guys, when you get to that level, they're all like, even rock stars. They're like that shit.
Yep. John Sully said, Pop Tart, no homo. Why would you think that's your physique on your avatar? I don't think you need gear, just in my opinion. Yep.
Yeah, it's John. Some of these guys, they don't get it. If you're gonna fucking take this shit, do it right. You understand? I hate when guys do that. I just want to take pills. I don't want my girlfriend to find out; she'll kill me. Whatever. Fuck that shit. Or your mother, or whatever. You gotta look. I understand, but you gotta do it right. Do it fucking right. You gotta do it. You're shutting down your body. So you might as well shut it down for the legit. You're not going to just Debo alone. It's not going to do shit.
AR Greg, do you think Mr. G is actually going to listen to Dave and do a show at 70? I think it's worth it for him.
I think, listen.
I don't think it's worth it for him.
I don't think it's worth it. I don't think Dave's funny. He tries to get. Remember, he wanted me to do a show. He wanted Lee Priest to come back. He wanted, he said, remember he started that Gregg Valentino's making a comeback. Comeback. What the fuck you talking about? I haven't competed since the 80s. You know what I mean? I'm not fucking, I'm not good. I don't even have a desire for that. He doesn't understand. I think we talked about that the last show or so. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be on stage in bodybuilding or anything. I don't care about that. I don't, unless you're going to pay me. If I'd have to get paid quite a bit of money, in order to do something like that.
I saw Dave take a jab at you a little bit when you guys were talking about on the last show that just happened.
What did he say?
You guys were talking about opposing, and Sam Salik, obviously.
Yeah.
And you said, you would have beat your physique at your age at 18 or 19, would have beat these guys. But they said, you would have beat everybody, right, Greg? Blah, blah, blah. But Sam Salik's, I love the kid.
I beat Dave too. Listen, I would have beat Dave too. Listen to me. It's nothing against Sam, but sell no wine before it's time. You were given that pro card. You're not ready for that shit yet. Do you understand? And listen, you cut the hair. You're getting to be 22, 23. Eventually, the kids aren't going to relate to that anymore. They're going to find a new guy. Do you understand? It's just like when Justin Bieber was young. Baby, baby, baby. Remember all that shit? Girls went. Now Justin Bieber, he's Sunday's news on Monday. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you grow out of that shit. I understand he's hungry to compete, but he's got too many people. Yeah, you could do this. All those voices in his head. I saw his physique. And I think even John Romano, somebody else even agreed with me. He's not ready yet for that level. I'm just telling you. He needs
he just signed a deal with Gymshark too. He just signed a deal with Gymshark. But a lot of people like you guys earned it for so many years grinding.
I trained 23 years natural. 23 years. These guys can't fucking train 23 days without starting a cycle. You know what I mean? 23 fucking years. So by the time I already look like a guy on juice when I started taking steroids. Look at me now. I train fucking 2 days a week. I do one set for my legs. One set. I'll match legs. Whatever. I in the video, Jumbo Palumbo, I did a fucking thing in the back with Dave. Now I was standing in shadow. Dave was standing on we were in a bathroom. In a fucking bathroom, and the guy was in there with the film, and even he said, "Your legs look better than than Dave's. Dave's are ripped. My legs are ripped too, but he didn't have the size I have, and I'm not even that heavy. I'm like 188, maybe 187, and I want to bring it down to the 170s, but I'm not on.
You're only 180. You're only 180.
I'm like maybe 188. I want Joe.
You look bigger for some reason. Maybe your legs.
last year when I went to Alabama, when you saw me in Alabama with Lee Priest and shit, and I was walking with him, and I was in the 170s when I had the gut thing there. What do you call it? The gallbladder thing.
Yeah, you were late.
And I wasn't on steroid. I couldn't even take TRT or nothing. I went down to 173. You know what I'm saying? I was 173. Wow. When they weighed me in the hospital, I was like, because you feel like Pee Wee Herman. And the one nurse goes, you're jacked. And I'm like, I ain't jacked. I haven't even lifted weights. I couldn't eat food. I was only eating Jello and fucking broth. You know what I mean? For 2 weeks in a hospital, no training. Obviously no TRT. I couldn't take TRT. Couldn't take it for a while because I have an operation. You can't take TRT.
Yeah.
Testosterone will make your blood thick. So you can't take that shit,
Yeah. Pop-Tart Fitness said, Greg, I never plan on competing, just trying to do a cycle for every summer for a while. You didn't compete on roids, so you know the deal. Yes, I understand. And I'm not putting you down, but I'm saying try it if you're gonna do that shit. I don't know, hide it from you, whatever you're gonna hide it from your mother. I don't know, keep it at your girlfriend's house, keep it at I don't know where you're gonna keep it. But you got to do it right. You understand? You would get a lot more from it, and it's a lot less strain on your body. Believe it or not, Debo's hard on the liver, a lot harder than just injectable. You understand, like injectable testosterone. It's a lot harder. Any oral is hard on your body. Yep.
I hate taking fucking Tylenol. I'll take one. You know what I mean? If I need to take a Tylenol, one, because any oral it puts a strain on your liver.
Jerry Gunn says, hi guys, how you doing, Jerry? John Salty, hey guys, don't want to jump off topic, but did you think of Diamond Dolly's page helping out Butterbean? Yes, Jake the Snake and many others.
What happened to Butterbean now? What's wrong with him?
Same thing. He just can't walk anymore, and he's having problems with his leg. Yeah, Butterbean. Yeah,
I thought he lost all the weight and he was doing good. No,
and that's because Diamond Dallas Page is helping him.
Oh shit! So he's Joe Pietaro and I did. Back when we had the podcast with Muscular Development, we interviewed Diamond Dallas Page, and he was fucking great. Let me tell you, he was really a good guy. I interviewed him. We did an hour-long interview with him, and he was a great guy. He was a good guy. I liked him. I actually liked Diamond. He's actually, you guys out there, he's legit. I'm telling you right now, he's fucking legit. He's not, that's not bullshit with him.
Diamond Dallas. He's a Jersey guy, too.
I didn't know that. And he's fucking. I'll tell you what, he's a bad dude too. Like if you pissed him off, you wouldn't want to fuck with him.
Yeah, he bounced at the Stone Pony in Jersey down the shore.
He's a tough fucking guy, but he was a really good guy. I really enjoyed the interview with him. There's a lot of people that I know, and he's a great guy. He's legit. He really does help people. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah. CK, regardless of mistakes Mr. Terry Bollea did, no one's perfect. The WWF, WWE, wrestling in general would not be where it is today without him. 100% true.
Yeah, of course, dude. The guy's an icon. You know what I mean? I think he paved the way for a lot of guys. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like The Rock and Stone Cold. He was there first.
Yeah, he was my childhood, watching him grow up in the 80s. I love him.
The thing that made it because he was so big.
Yeah.
And when he went against the monster, Andre the Giant, and those two. I don't know much about wrestling, Joe. You're way more wrestling.
Yeah.
But I do know that they talk about the Andre the Giant Hulk Hogan match was the one that really was like the big WWE. That was like a monster.
Yeah, that was the big one. Yep.
Right? Wasn't that? And the fact that he picked up that fucking 600-pound, whatever the fuck that lummox was, he picked him up and put him on his shoulder, right? And he
picked him up, body slammed him. Yeah.
Dude, you go. I couldn't pick up my mother-in-law, and she's bigger than Andre the Giant. But they look exactly like in the face. That's how pretty she is.
P. Wild said, Fantastic Four was surprisingly good. Oh, really? I've heard it was good. Superman was better, except the nagging interview with Lowe's part. The summer blockbuster is going to be Godzilla approach. Greg, Hollywood is crap. Yeah. By the way, tomorrow is Friday. Happy Gilmore 2 debuts. And if you guys watch it, I'm in Happy Gilmore 2 as an extra. You guys might see me. So
Gilmore 2. Oh fuck, I didn't even know. I think you told me.
It drops on Netflix tomorrow. So if you guys watch it, you might see me. I'm on there with Bad Bunny and Adam Sandler on the golf course. So you'll see me probably. So I did that over the summer. What's it? Loho said, guys, what do you think of kind of modern Arnold physique? I don't know that guy's name.
Gunter Schellenkamp? Are you talking about Gunter Schellenkamp? He was good, but I wouldn't say he was Arnold. I don't think you can compare him to Arnold. He He was all right. He was good. He was a good guy. I saw him in person. You know, back the old guys. I know all of those guys. He was a big motherfucker, without a doubt.
CK said, "I am a real American. Fight for the rights of every man." RPA Hulk Hogan. That's his song. He used to come into every day with. Yep. Luciano said, "You said it best, Greg. Food and hard training should be the only two things you need in your early 20s. Only thing you worry about is your parents complaining. Just brought those eggs."
I knew that I was doing something right when I was a teenager. My mother would be like, "I just bought those goddamn eggs. Where the hell are they?" And I'd be like, "I ate them." You know what I mean? You know, or I just bought, like, she'd buy like roast beef, the cold cuts, you know, and shit, all that stuff, and I'd eat the whole fucking thing, like a pound of it, you know. I used to eat the raw chopped meat. We called chopped meat, hamburger meat, you know.
Yeah.
Back then we called it chopped meat, but I would eat that shit. She'd get pounds of it, and I'd eat the whole fucking thing raw.
Yep.
Now I wouldn't go near that shit raw. I don't know how I did that, you know.
Ruben Sanchez says, "Speaking of gear, how much and how often should you take EQ with test?"
Wait, Ruben Sanchez, how often should you take EQ with test? I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy, because I took a whole jug of that shit every fucking week, Ruben. I mean, I was taking it every other day, and I was taking the testosterone every other day. I mean, you know, EQ lasts a little bit. It's like Deca, you know what I mean? It's a cousin of Deca, you know. So it's like the same thing.
Yep. Jerry Guns, bodybuilding is fake.
Yes, Jerry Guns.
Michael HH, brother, what's going on, brother? Hulk Hogan, brother. Yeah, Keith says 1 million winner takes all. Rambling Freak goes on the stage.
Yeah, no, Rambling Freak's not gonna, unless you put up a lot of scuttle. The Rambling Freak is not doing it. You know, Dave's always trying to do that shit. You know, I'll get your, you know, the supplements, and you know, I'll help train you. No.
Yeah.
No.
Natalia said, "Hi everyone.
I need cashola, and quite a bit of it."
Yep. Hi Natalia, what's going on?
Hey Natalia, how you doing?
Jerry Gunn says, "I hope you guys are not upset with me." Jerry, you know, I was just kind of surprised you went that way with Vince Russo when I did that interview a little bit. So I was actually a little surprised. You know, we're just getting Vince Russo's take on something, you know, and I know him and Jim Cornette had an issue, but that's nothing to really do with me. Let's see. Keith said, "No more discussing the 1-set leg workout that turns out to be 40 sets. I'm going to piss my pants."
No, it's not 40 sets. You're listening to Dave. I said the 1 set for the quads. I do 1 set for the quads. Now the hamstrings are a different muscle. I do a lot for the hamstrings. So don't listen to these fucking idiots.
Charlie Arms says, "Wish I was 20 years younger. I would knock Dave out for talking to you like that. You've been Jack since the 70s. Dave's a runner on juice."
Thank you, Charlie. Joe, 1 second. I got to pee so bad I'm going to pee my pants.
Go ahead. Go pee.
1 second. That's why I keep moving around.
Yeah. But yes, the Hulkster passes away, guys. And like I said, I met him before, and actually that's an autograph I got with him when I met him. He was actually really cool. You know, it's part of my childhood. He was really cool. And like I said, I tried to get him on the podcast. Him and Jimmy Hart told me they wanted $5,000, and I was not going to pay $5,000 for that. You know, even though I love the Hulkster, he was one of my favorites, you know, because I grew up watching wrestling since 78, 79. I remember it. You know, I started watching it. So I grew up in the 80s, Hulkamania all the way. Let's see. What is that? John Solly said, "Yes, Greg, I can relate. I weighed 195 pounds. I'm 6'2" and haven't been 195 pounds since senior year in high school." Wow, John. Wow, you need to put that weight back on. Yes, you do. Knight Rider says, "Greg, you think Romano hates talking about trannies on After Hours because when you got catfished with that guy he thought was a girl?"
Listen, all those guys are full of shit. I'm not even going to get into it. They talk shit. They've all been fucking around. You don't know, okay? Don't make me fucking say shit, because first of all, those guys also date female bodybuilders who are like, "Hey, what's up?" I tell Dave, when Dave said shit. Remember one day I said, you know, talk about the voice and shit, you know, not for nothing, but you know, when you date nothing but female bodybuilders and they're bending over and they get these big traps and they got to shave their chests and shit like that, and they got 20-inch arms. That's not too fucking feminine. Yep. I'm not even going to get into it, but trust me, don't listen to those guys. They know if they go too far, then I'm going to say what I know. And trust me, I've seen them with
them.
You're forgetting, you know. Birds of a feather flock together. We all been in the same parties. We've been in the Sound Factory at the same time. I could tell you stories. You have
Everything
no
went
idea.
down in that Sound Factory, man. Everything.
That's right.
John Smith, good memories of Hulk Hogan versus the Iron Sheik when young. Yes, that was great, you know.
The
Very good.
Iron Sheik. Yeah,
Remember the Iron Sheik? He's the guy, he's the champion that lost the belt to Hogan to start Hulkamania.
Hulkamania. I remember that guy. 'Cause my son used to see I went to wrestling, and I told you that's when I was really fucking big. And The Rock and all those guys came out to look at me because we were sitting like 4 rows from the fucking, from the ring. It was in the back of Madison Square Garden. What do they call that shit now? The Palladium? No, it used to be the Felt Forum years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell they call it now, but that's when they wrestled there. And I brought my son there, and then at the late '90s. When I was really fucking juiced out of my gourd, and they were all like freaking out. The wrestlers were like, freaking out because I was that big. But, so I know a little bit because of my son would watch that stuff. My son was really into that when he was little,
Yeah, we got a $5 super chat from son of Sammy Davis. Glad we finally got to catch the show. Watching from FDNY Engine 73, ladder 42. Greg knows I'm Joe P's boy. Much love, guys. Oh, so this is Joe Biataro's friend?
Oh, shit. My friend is one of my.
But we love the fire department in the New York guys. You guys are the best.
Yeah, that's Nick. Yeah, I know you're Nick. Good man. What was I gonna say? My friend Chris Reginella is a battalion captain. He's a battalion chief, and he's actually going to be the deputy chief in August. He's getting it's the highest you can go without being an appointed position. So he's up there, but he's up in the higher Manhattan, the higher numbers, whatever you call that. I forgot what fucking what company. But
well, you guys,
God bless all the fire. I love all my firemen.
They stay safe though. They need to stay safe from the city. It gets crazy out there.
I didn't know that you were FDNY.
John Soy said, Joe, I'm definitely looking out for you at Happy Gilmore. Were you on the greens? Yes, I was on the green. You'll see me on when he's golfing with Bad Bunny. Those were the scenes that I shot. You'll see me right in the background. There's like a giant letter M that was on the field. So all the grass scenes, I was in those. So you'll see me.
What are you like, one of the people like that is standing there?
So I was one of the scenes. I was like one of the security guards for them, and then another scene I was a fan just holding the flag, waving for the other team to beat Happy Gilmore. So you definitely see me because I'm right up front. So hopefully you'll see me somewhere. And I was in the stands a couple times. We shot all day.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was really cool. I actually was just in Montclair, New Jersey, Tuesday, and they were filming. John Cena was there, and they were filming a movie with Eric Andre.
Was Morella your girl? Was she in the?
She was in the car with me. She was in the car with me. Oh, she's not in Happy Gilmore too. No.
Oh, she didn't go. Why didn't she go with you?
She was working and stuff, so I did it. So she didn't do it. No. But yeah, look out for me. You'll see. Yeah, whatever. What we said. Bruno Valentino, such a day. I've been watching very old recordings of Saturday night's main event. Yes, it's been really sad. Watching all the wrestling. R.I.P. Hulk Hogan. Yes, very sad about the Hulk Hogan news. Bruno says, Jersey Joe, you would have been a good wrestler. Yeah, I thought about it. Believe it or not, I did think about it.
You would have been Joe. Joe knows judo too, so he could have thrown guys around.
Yeah, that would have been really good. Keith, Rita, Jimmy, the Bull's ex was pretty hot. Even though she was huge. Jimmy the Bull's ex, Rita, did you know her?
Yeah, I know Rita. Who is this now, Keith?
Keith.
Do you know? I don't know if.
I don't.
Sometimes there's one of my friends keeps coming on here under different.
No, that's not Keith. Is good. That's Keith is good. We know that's Keith. He's good.
Keith. Okay. Yes, Rita was badass, bro. I was in the gym in 1991. And with Jimmy, and he was in there with her and they were like smacking each other, bench pressing and shit. She was.
Yeah. All right, Greg. Well, we're over an hour in here already.
This goes so fast.
It does.
This show goes so fast, man. It does. It goes really fast.
It does. I want to just again thank everyone. John Saldi, Bruno Valentino, all you guys, Jerry Guns, son of Sammy, the fire department. Be safe. All you guys, Brian Pablo, Charlie Arms. Thank you very much, Mrs. Bell. Pop Tart Fitness. Thank you so much. We love you guys. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Very sad, Ozzy Osbourne. Very sad, Greg. What can you say, man? Very tough week.
Yeah, it is.
Hulkamania runs wild and will live forever, brother.
Yeah, Hulk, God bless. You know, he was a good guy. I mean, I don't give a shit about all his other personal stuff. Everybody's got personal shit, you know.
Yeah, they do.
I did a lot of fucked up personal shit. Christ, you know. So God knows, in the '90s, I was a lunatic.
Yep.
But you know, in Ozzy, that was my guy. That one,
right.
you know, yeah. You guys are big wrestler guys, so Hogan was one thing, but for me, it was Ozzy. Was, you know, I loved Ozzy Osbourne.
And the guy from the Cosby Show too, we lost Malcolm.
Yeah,
Jamal
I didn't really follow that stuff too much. You know what I mean? I don't know
Yeah.
how he drowned. I knew the guy drowned though. I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, he drowned. And actually, where he drowned, they said that the water was really bad, and there are signs there that tell you got to be careful. He was in
he on
Costa
a
Rica.
beach, or was he just
He was in
jumping off
Costa
a boat?
Rica. He was in another country, in Costa Rica or something.
But was he on did he go like you know, on
He
a
went on
beach,
the
the waves took him out, or
The waves took him out. Yeah, he went out. They told you, they said, do not go past your knees because the riptide is really bad. And he went out to his like chest, and it just took him right out. So that's, you know.
Dude, I'm scared shit of water, you know.
Yeah, I know. Well, be safe, everyone. Love you guys.
Thank you guys. We love you. Thank you all. God bless. Be safe.
All right, Hulkamania, brother.
Drop the reps, increase the dosage, and we'll see you next week.
Say your prayers, eat your vitamins.
Welcome to Straight Outta Jersey. Today's podcast is brought to you by Ace Sunglasses. Go to acesunglasses.com.au to purchase some of the best shades around. Use promo code MRG30 and receive 30% off selected brands. That's Ace Sunglasses, the shades of true champions.